Hi everyone and welcome to this YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to talk about top 10 most dangerous foods in the world. 1. Elderberries. The black elderberry shrub grows all over the world and has a number of medicinal and culinary uses, as well as making a lovely hedge. Its berries are used in making wine, syrups, pies, jams, and other extracts. It is always cooked before use because the seeds, and about half of each tiny berry is seed, contains a glycoside that induces cyanide, a deadly poison. Cooking destroys these glycosides, making the berry safe to eat. If you eat enough raw elderberries, it can cause a toxic buildup of cyanide in the body. You'll know it happens when the vomiting and diarrhea kick in. Most people recover pretty quickly, but sometimes the poisoning is particularly bad. 2. Fugu. The pufferfish or blowfish is called fugu in Japan, which means river pig. But you don't get bacon from this pig, instead you get dead. The fugu contain high quantities of tetrodotoxin, a powerful neurotoxin used to defend against predators in the wild and exact revenge on humans after the fish is dead. Said to be 1,200 times more deadly than cyanide, a pinhead worth of tetrodotoxin is all it takes to excuse you from the dinner table forever. When properly prepared by a trained and skilled chef, it can be safe to eat. But if during its preparation any of the tetrodotoxin-laced flesh is left, that's probably your last meal. Improperly prepared fugu kills about 100 people a year, as 60% of those exposed to it die. A proper sushi chef is supposed to taste the fish before serving it to make sure it was done right, but you know. 3. Monkey brains. Remember that scene from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom where they served chilled monkey brains still in the monkey's skull? As it turns out, not only is that really gross and more than a little cruel, but could also give you brain disease. Specifically, monkey brains are known to carry variant Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, VCJD, which will kill you. It takes a little over a year to die once infected, but it's not a pleasant year. Here's a sample of the symptoms: dementia, loss of motor control, depression and anxiety, blindness, loss of the ability to speak and understand language, difficulty swallowing, and chronic pain. 4. Fessick. In Egypt, the Nile River has always been the bringer of life. Its waters and their predictable seasonal flooding made human life along its banks possible. But in addition to bringing life, the Nile also delivered some other gifts, including an annual bounty of rotting fish every spring as the floodwaters receded. Some clever person back in the days of the pharaohs made the link between these trails of desiccated fish and the magic of the flood season, and decided that to celebrate the spring holiday, they ought to eat those fish. The holiday is called Shem al-Nissim, which translates to smell the breeze, which can't be coincidental considering all the rotting fish. 5. Giant jellyfish. Once upon a time, Japan was treated to a visit from the Ekezen Kirage, known for a jellyfish every 40 years or so. Lately, however, they have been inundated with thousands upon thousands of these huge jellyfish every year. It's becoming a bit of a problem. These aren't little jellies floating around, these are 6-foot wide, 500-pound monsters. Fishermen are particularly troubled by them because it's next to impossible to drop a net without catching some, and because they are poisonous, they sting any fish also caught in the net, which renders them all inedible. Nobody knows why the Ekezen Kirage have changed their behavior, but there are theories. It's a pretty sure bet we're to blame, and the world's largest hydroelectric dam, the Three Gorges Dam on the Yangtze River in China, is a likely culprit. But what are we supposed to do? With all these jellyfish, well, people being people, we're trying to eat them. One bowl of ice cream at a time. 6. Bullfrogs. Namibian bullfrogs are mean. They are big, the size of a house cat. They are vicious, and they are hungry. Oh, and they're poisonous. Their trick is to sit really still under some leaves and stuff. Then when something tasty wanders by, like, say, anything that can fit into their enormous mouth and a few other things besides, they pounce. The bottom jaw snaps open and its huge tongue lashes out to grab dinner and haul it back. Then some sharp bits on its jaw hook in and keep the frog's prey in its mouth. But while they are good at eating in Namibia, they are also considered good to eat, but only at the right time. You have to wait until mating season, which is the third rain in that part of Africa. That's when the bullfrog's skin and organs are not producing a toxin called ashikakata, which causes kidney failure. If you are impatient and harvest one of these giant amphibians too early, you can expect a period of excruciatingly painful urination followed by possible death. 7. Blood clams. Why on earth would you call something a blood clam? Because they bleed, duh. Well, all clams bleed, but most of them have clear blood, so it just looks like thick water. But blood clams have hemoglobin, so their blood is red, like ours. And like our blood, blood clams can carry diseases of the blood like hepatitis, typhoid, and dysentery. This is because they live in low oxygen environments where a lot of viruses and bacteria thrive. Blood clams filter 40 liters of seawater per day, and the water is dirty, like, say, in most of China. The clams absorb these harmful bacteria and viruses, like, say, hepatitis, typhoid, or dysentery. 8. Cashews. Ever tried to get a cashew out of its shell? Probably not, since cashews are never sold raw in the shell. That's because cashews contain anacardic acid, the same chemical irritant that makes poison ivy so much fun. The poison is in the oil of the shell, not the nut itself. But when it comes out of the shell, the nut is covered in the stuff. Handling the shell of eating the raw nut can cause a reaction. To render it safe to eat, the nut is roasted to eliminate the acids in the shell oil. But it has to be done at a high enough temperature or traces may remain. And if you've ever seen a severe allergic reaction to poison ivy on someone's skin, imagine that on the inside. 9. Baby octopus. If you're ever in Korea and feel like living dangerously, order the Senakji. Just don't be surprised that when your plate arrives, what's on it is still moving around. You just ordered wriggling octopus made from an extremely fresh baby octopus. So fresh that it was alive a few seconds before being served to you. Raw and wriggling. Be sure to chew a lot, because every year a few people die from choking because one of those wriggly octopus legs gets caught in their throat. 10. Cashew marzu. Meet the world's most dangerous cheese. Cashew marzu begins as pecorino cheese, but then takes on a life of its own, literally, when it is cut open and left outside so it can become infested with larvae. First, the flies come and lay eggs in it, which of course hatch into larvae. Happy larvae, as it turns out, because they can immediately start feasting on yummy cheese. As the baby bugs eat, this starts decomposing the cheese. Believe it or not, this is what we want to happen. Not surprisingly, the cheese becomes extremely soft and a liquid starts seeping from it. This liquid is called lagrima, but giving it a name does not make it any less gross. Please subscribe and type subscribe in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.